Hello and welcome to the ULX podcast. My name is Ron, and this is episode 8 of the ULX podcast. It's very windy outside. Happy Halloween, folks! This is not my normal look. It's just for Halloween, just a disguise. I don't know what's scarier, that wig or those eyes. Let me see. Oh, it is the wig. All right, enough nonsense. Ron, this is serious business. You're trying to be a credible podcaster and you're making a fool of yourself. All right. I just felt like I should tribute the day. This is October 31st. And I messed up again. So I have to redo. So I don't know if this will be published on time, but it'll be published tomorrow. Worst case scenario. My bad. Procrastinate. I had a lot of issues, but yeah, life is life. I don't want to complain. I feel that I always do so when I start my podcast. I always have something that, anyways, I have such a good topic for you tonight. I didn't mention it on episode 7. If you recall, I was taping from the LAX airport and I was so excited about the night I had the day before. The night, anyways, I went to the Troubadour and I had been wanting to go there for a long time and it finally happened. And I had quite the experience, so I'm going to go right into it. I just taped like a 90 minutes episode, so I'm going to try to condense it a little more. So maybe it's a good thing that I didn't, uh, it got deleted somehow. Maybe I didn't hit record. It was recording, but I don't know where the file went. So I'm trying QuickTimer because this script has been letting me down lately. Anyways, so this happened. So this evening was September 13, so last month, and just getting there was was an experience in itself because I had to take the bus. Not a big experience, but still. And the bus left me on the other side of the street where the venue is, which is fine. The thing is, I had to cross Santa Monica Boulevard. There's two lanes going that way, two lanes going that way, and it's busy. It's 5:15, so it's rush hour. So there's a lot of cars, which is fine. But I noticed while I was there for 4 days, and that's all I did, walk and take the bus from here to there, and blah, 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 blah. So I must have crossed the streets, I don't know, 30 times. And I noticed that whenever there's a traffic light at an intersection, there's always a little button to activate the pedestrian signal to give priority to the pedestrian. So when you see the little white light go on, you can cross. If you have the little red hand, you don't cross, right? You know that drill. But apparently, cars don't care much for pedestrians because I would have my signal and people would go around me left and right and sometimes so close that you feel the wind of the car. You don't feel the car. You're not getting hit, but I mean, and sometimes, hey, I went like this, like what the hell. And the person in the car was meaning to say, I don't know, I didn't hit you, I saw you. Well, yeah, you didn't hit me, but you almost gave me a heart attack. So after 3, 4 times of this, I started, being a little more aware. So this is one of those times. I'm crossing Santa Monica Boulevard. I'm being very cautious. And I get to the first half, and before crossing, I look and I see this car coming. White car. I see in my corner, my peripheral vision. But the car stopped. I said, wow. So I turned around to thank the person because that's the first time I was experiencing that. And turns out that it was a self-driving car. There's nobody in there. So self-driving cars are safer, guys, than actual drivers. Humans don't care much for humans, but robots, they do. Well, yeah. So there's hope. One day, when it's all self driven cars in the greater LA region, it'll be a safer place for pedestrians. But it was a Jaguar. I looked it up. Waymo car. Very nice. You can see it on the internet. It's pretty cool. Anyways, I found that a little bit funny. So I'm ahead of time. The venue opens at 7 and it's about 5:15, 5:20. So I figure I have time to go to Dantana's. It's an Italian restaurant. It's actually three doors down. Not the man. It's actually three doors down of the Troubadour. And it's a restaurant where allegedly the Eagles wrote the song Lying Eyes. So then the Glenn Fry and Don Henley and the other guys were sitting at the Troubadour once, and there's it's a restaurant, but there's a bar in the middle. So Glenn is looking at this young lady having sharing a cocktail with an older businessman, and he goes, "Look at those lying eyes." And apparently they wrote the lyrics of that song at that restaurant on a napkin. And I wanted to go there a few years ago, and we did. And now the next thing on my bucket list was the Troubadour. So there I was, on my way to the Troubadour, and I had time to kill. I'm gonna go have a beer at Dantana's. Turns out it was, as I say, early, but I guess there was a lot of early bird dinners, so it was packed already. So I didn't go. I found another place. I had a beer there. Then I got closer, and then the doors 6:15 or so. The doors were open. There was a doorman there, so I said, "Can I come in?" And he goes, "No, we open at 7." I said, "Oh, I thought I could eat before." He says, "Yeah, you can eat before the show, but I mean after 7." It's okay. So I went to, there's a little park at the corner of the street. So I went there, I sat, and I was texting with my daughter, telling her uh, what my plans were. And my daughter became my mother, like, "Oh, watch it, Dad. When you get out of there, it's going to be late. Be aware. I mean, there's a lot of weirdos now in the city, and blah, blah, blah. Don't isolate yourself in headphones, and be aware. Take an Uber." And okay, Mom. I'll play safe. So all that to say that I had the phone in my hands, and I noticed my battery was at 28, 29%, which is that a good thing because I need my phone to get back. I need to figure out my bus route, or call an Uber or whatever. So now I'm suddenly concerned that I need to plug this phone, but I'm outside. Where can I plug it? Then so I start walking, and then I notice a line starting to form at the Troubadour, and I don't have tickets. I said, might as well get in line right away to make sure I get tickets. So I stood in line for like half hour or so. Then they open the box office. I pay my ticket, and the girl says, I had my pack, like, by the way, says, "I'm gonna need your pack sack." And I said, "Oh no, I need it. There's my charger in there, a jacket." Said, "No, it's just you leave it here, or I give you your money back, but you're not coming in with your pack sack." And she wasn't rude, she was just firm. I said, okay, my iPad wasn't there, so I wasn't too thrilled about leaving my pack sack, but okay, Ron, let it go. You're here for an experience. So, all right. So I give her my bag, and she says, "What's your name?" I say, "Ron." She writes Ron on a piece of paper, puts it on the bag. I said, "Oh, you're not giving me like a claim check coupon or something?" She goes, "No, no. Just ask for Ron's bag." All right. But I needed, so I retrieved my charger, and then I walked in, and there I was at the front bar. So I was very excited. The front bar is where it all happens, or what I saw before, because in the history of the Eagles documentary, you see some little short clips of Don Henley and Glenn Fry playing with Linda Ronstadt at the Troubadour, and this and that. And I recognize everything. It's still the same. The place has been open since 1957, and I don't think it's been remodeled. It's very vintage, borderline tacky, but I loved it. It's really, really nice. And I don't want to give you all the names that went through that place over the years and the decades, but as I mentioned on previous podcasts, go to troubadour.com, tap on the uh, history tab, if you will, and then you can see all the names that went through that place. It's quite impressive. So there I am in the front bar, and there's the back bar that they call, where there's a second bar, and that's where the music, the stage is, and there's people standing on the floor, and there's kind of a mezzanine upstairs with like wooden, almost like a church, like wooden bench, and something in front of you to put your drinks. Um, I think the capacity is about 500 people in there if you consider the front bar, the back bar, the kitchen, and well, all of that all combined. So here I am. I walk in. I have my charger, and because I'm kind of the first one in the bar, the bartender offers me, service. Can I get you anything? I said, first thing I need to do is plug my phone. And she goes, oh, you can plug it at the wall behind you. So I turn around and I stare at the wall and I look down, for uh, a plug, and I can't see it. And obviously, I looked confused because this man sitting at the bar before me goes, sir, it's right there alongside the window. It's a power bar. And then I looked and I see it. The window frame was white and the power bar was white and nothing plugged in. So it didn't stand out. But once you know what you're looking for, I did spot it right away. So I turned around and says, well, thank you. Plug in my phone, put it there, go back at the bar. And so I said, do you have Guinness? And she goes, yeah, we have it in a can. We have it in the bottle. I said, okay, I'll have a can of Guinness and a menu, please. And she goes, oh, you can't eat here. I said, I can't eat here? No, that's not true. She says, you can't order here. I says, I can't eat here? She goes, yeah, you can eat here. You can't order here. So again, I looked confused. And she goes, the kitchen is on the other side of the door. You go order there. And you can bring your food here if you want, and you can eat here if you want to. I said, oh, okay, well, wait for the Guinness. Let me get my food, and I'll be right back. So, oops, now I'm conflicted again because I have to leave my phone unattended, so I'm not too happy about that. So I'm looking at the phone, I'm looking at the door. Again, I must look confused. So the same man goes to me and says, don't worry about your phone, I got you. I said, all right, okay, thank you. I trust you. He goes, yeah, you can trust me. All right. So I go order my food. And that itself, there's another story for the food, but I'm going to have to skip ahead here. So I go, okay. So I order my food, and it's going to be ready in 10-15 minutes. So I have time to go have a beer. So I go back at the bar. And I asked the bartender, I'll have that Guinness now. And she gives me the Guinness. And then I looked around at that man and I said, can I get you? And thanks for minding my phone. Can I get you anything? And he goes, no, I'm good. Thank you. But I noticed the guy has nothing in front of him. He doesn't have a beer. He doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a book. He's just sitting there. So I'm drinking my Guinness, and I said, I'm Ron, by the way. He says, oh, I'm Head, so we shake hands. I said, you sure you don't want coffee or something? He says, no, thank, very nice of you. No, I don't need anything. Thank you very much. So I'm thinking the guy has to be the manager. He's not having anything, and he's just sitting there and observing. The guy must be a manager, but he's not wearing a Troubadour shirt. Every staff member has a Troubadour but then again, he's the manager, so he has a dress shirt. Or I'm thinking he's the manager, anyways. So I asked. I said, Ed, are you the manager here? And he goes, no, I'm not. I'm not the manager. So I said, okay, he's not the manager. He's not a regular employee. He's not taking, well, maybe he's an old time, regular customer, so maybe he's going to drink later or have food or whatever. So it just opened. So I looked at him and smiled, and then he comes out with it. Says, I'm the owner. I own the joint. And I go, oh, you're the owner. Okay, makes sense. But I said, but you don't manage it? Says, oh, no, not anymore. I'm too old. My daughter manages it now. I said, oh, interesting. And then I'm thinking, well, wait a second here. I need some content for my podcast. And I was kind of hoping to, I just wanted to know the name of the manager to call him or something at one point. But here I am next to the owner. Says, can I sit with you? And he goes, yeah, sure. So I go sit with him because he was sitting, as I said, at the very end of the bar. So I dragged my beer and I started talking to him. And I said, so how long have you been the owner here? Because I know that Doug Weston, I didn't mention that yet. It's called Doug Weston's Troubadour. And if you look at the history, Doug died in 1999. So I figured he's the new owner. So he must have taken over from Doug 25 years ago when he died. That's what I'm thinking. So I asked him, how long have you been the owner? He goes, it's since 1981, so 43, 44 years. Wow, really? Wow, that's impressive. And and I said, so how's business? Oh, it's perfect. It's. He says it's a cash cow. It's money pours into this place. So I said, well, that's good. I said, how about COVID? He says, oh, COVID, no. He says, COVID, we lost $1.5 million over because there was a time that they were closed and they were partially open, and then people didn't want to come, social distancing, all that jazz. Uh, so I said, wow, and now you're good. So yeah, we made that back in no time. So wow, it is a cash cow. So so I guess you're a music lover. Says no, not at all. Don't care much for music. I said, okay. And you don't drink. You said no, I don't drink. I said, wow. So you're the owner of a bar that has menu of music every night, which you don't care for. I said, how does that happen? Says, what's your background? He goes, I'm a mechanic. Oh, well, that makes sense. Excuse me, I'm gonna water the whistle. Mm. So I said, wow. So how did you get involved? If you don't mind my asking. He says, no, not at all. He says, Doug used to come to my garage. I used to manage a garage, and he would come with his car to get it fixed once in a while, oil change or whatever. So we got to talk here and there, and then he would come without the car, or with the car, but not for the car. Would just come in, just chat, and he would observe me. He says he used to like. He would tell me that he liked the way I worked. He liked that I worked hard. He liked the way I was with my customers and whatnot. So it was just observing Ed at work. Then at one point, he said, he came in one day. He says, Ed, you got to help me. I'm losing my baby. You got to help me save my baby. So Ed goes, well, Doug, you're gay. He knew that Doug was gay. And probably back in the day, a gay and a kid did not add up, They couldn't adopt a kid back then. So he goes, what do you mean? He says, come with me. So they go in Doug's car and they come at the Troubadour. So Ed goes, why are you bringing me here? It's a bar. So Doug says, yeah, that's a bar. I own this bar, but now I'm losing it, so I need your help. So Ed goes, I can't help. I'm a mechanic. I can't help you. I know nothing about, the bar business. Nothing. I can't help you. He says, yeah, you have to. It's a people thing. You know people. You're a hardworking guy. You're very ethical. You're honest. You're good with people. That's all I need. You can do this. I trust you. You're the only one. You're the only person I trust that can help me. But Ed turns him down. And says, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna get involved in something that I don't know, and I have my thing in my garage and everything. So no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. So Doug took it bad, but he had to accept. So turns out that sometime later, the building in which Ed was renting um, a space to do his garage thing, the building was for sale and it got sold. But because Ed had been the tenant for 10 years, he had rights and he had some $600,000 settlement. That's in like late 70s. That's a good chunk of money. Um, and I said, wow. I says, yeah. So then I was at home and one day Doug shows up. I don't know how Doug, I don't know if Doug, I don't know how he got there, but he got there. And I didn't ask. So Doug says, well, now that you're here with nothing to do, now will you help me? Because as much as I was losing it before, now I'm running out of time. I have to do something fast. So Ed said, all right, I do have some time, but I don't want to work for you as much as I like you. So here's what I propose. You don't have to pay me. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm just going to go sit there and try to figure out how you can do better. So Doug was, yeah, absolutely. That's all I wanted. I couldn't ask for more. Thank you very much. Blah, 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 blah. So then Ed said, I started sitting right here and just observe. And says it didn't take very long for me to realize that everybody here was robbing him blind. The bartenders would pocket half the money of every drink that they would serve, if not all, at times. And they wouldn't take money out of the register. They wouldn't put it all in. At the box office, same thing, because it's at $10 a night back then, and 500 tickets per night because we're a sellout almost every night. So we should have close to $5,000 every night, but it's like 1,200, 1,500, 1,700 at best. So I told Doug, says, people are robbing you blind here. And I spotted out of the 23, I know of 16 people that are robbing you right now. So we have to fire those. So Doug was surprised, but he goes, yeah, of course. But then we'll have to replace them. I don't know anybody. He says, yeah, I'll find you people. Then Head says, that's another one of my talents. He says, I'm good with motors. I'm a hardworking man, and I can read people within 10 minutes. I know if the person is honest or not. And I go, oh, Ed, we've been talking like half hour here. He goes, you're honest. I said, yeah, you're a great judge of character, Ed. I am honest. So he says, I wouldn't be talking to you. I said, oh, okay. So that's nice to know. Okay, so what happened then? I said, well, then we fired these people and I hired replacements. And then money was pouring in like it always did, but it would stay in. That's the difference. It was bleeding out, but now with the money would get in and stay there. So within a few weeks, I had money to go pay all his debt. So I would go walk into this whatever. How do you call it? It doesn't matter. A person to who you owe money to, and he goes, how much does Doug owe you? And he goes, well, you have the bills there. You just write us a check and we're good. We'll service you again, but right now we're not selling you or whatever. And he goes, no, I've got cash in my pocket. How much money does it need to go to zero? And they go, 23,000. You have $23,000 on you? I said, yeah. He says, I would carry 50,000 people before I would, $50,000 cash before going in to see all these people. And the 50 would cover everything, everywhere. So another 50 every time I would go. So again, within a few weeks, he had paid everybody. So everything is good to go. All the service came back. All his suppliers started selling to him again. And the permits were paid. Everything is within a few months. The business is up and running, and everything is legit, straight, and ready to go. So Ed says, "All right, Doug, I'm done here. There's nothing more for me to do." And Doug says, "Well, you can't go." I need you because I'm not gonna watch this. I'm not that kind of guy. Doug was partying. He had drug problems and alcohol problems, and he was living the life, the LA life in the 80s. You can just imagine. So Ed said, "Okay, well, if you don't want me to leave, what do we do? How do we do this?" So Doug says, 50-50. So then I asked, "Well, so you never put money in?" He says, "No, I put my time in." I said, "Yeah, but still." He said, "No, I accepted." I said, "No, no shit." I said, "Wow, that's pretty good." He became half owner of a cash cow and not putting money in. I said, "Wow, that's impressive." And he goes, "Yeah." So then we took vacations together. I had my wife, and we would travel together, and blah 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 blah. So we had a lot of good times. And I know it's in the website that Doug died. So this is what happened when Doug died. Then he became very emotional. Says, "Oh, Doug." Says, "I miss him." I said, "Yeah, I'm sure you do." He said, "Well, when he died, he left me everything. The bar, his cars, his money, everything, jewelry, everything was in my name." I said, "Wow, that's that's impressive." I said, "I guess he really appreciated your help." He says, "Yeah, obviously you did, but he also appreciated my friendship." And then I said, um, "Didn't Doug have siblings, family?" He says, "Yeah, he had cousins in New York, and they sued, or at least they lawyered up and tried to sue me, but their lawyers met my lawyer, and within an hour meeting, it was a done deal. There was nothing to do. It was documented, the will and everything. All the paperwork was done. There was no doubt. There was nothing to fight. So that was a very short battle that I won. I said, "Wow." So you're the sole owner of this joint? He said, "Yeah, I am." So I've been so, and I obviously noticed the guy had an accent. Well, not obviously. I'm telling you that I noticed his accent, and I said, "Where are you from?" Because I noticed an accent. He says, "I'm from Lebanon." I said, "Wow, interesting." So when did you come to the U.S.? It's 1969. And I left behind my wife and my daughter. It took him like a year and a half to bring him in, and blah 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 blah. So that's quite a story. So just to accelerate here, he told me a couple of good stories. At one point, his phone rang, and it was one of his granddaughters on FaceTime showing him a wedding gown or dress. She's getting married next year, and she was showing him the dress. "What do you think, Grandpa?" And this and that. And then he's asking for my opinion. So I say hi to his granddaughter. I mean, this was surreal. The connection we got from the get go. I found him very likable. I guess he found me likable as well, and he did find me honest, so that helped. And I spent the whole evening with the guy. And at one point, he somebody came to get him for dinner, so he went to dinner, and I went to see the music and whatnot. And I thought he was gone for the evening, but when came back for a beer, was sitting there. He called me over. We continued the conversation, and he told me a couple of stories. One of the good ones is that at one point, when he had the garage, he had this big sign made up saying specialized in Rolls Royce. And he goes, "I knew nothing of Rolls Royce." So, but it worked. This politician rolls in with his Rolls Royce at one point and had I don't know, some kind of a noise in his motor or something. And Ed is asked, "Can you help me?" He says, "I'll take a look." And then he figured out the problem. He says, "I didn't know Rolls Royce, but I knew motors." So it wasn't a big thing. I could fix that for cheap, but I couldn't give him a cheap price. It's a Rolls Royce, so I gave him a high price. And the politician d- didn't argue. He said, "Yeah, it sounds fair. When can I get the car back?" He says, 2 days. I have to order the part and whatever. So the politician comes back after 2 days and gets the car, tests it, and around the block says, "Well, the noise is gone. That's great. Thank you very much. You did a great job. You're a lifesaver, Ed. I couldn't find anybody that knew anything about Rolls Royce." He says, "I owe you one," and he gives him his business card. So that's how we knew that the guy was a politician. Ed doesn't remember what kind of is he governor, a senator, a mayor. That he doesn't know because he doesn't care much about titles or your standing in life. He says to Ed, all humans are equal, which is true. But I mean, obviously, some are more equal than others, right? So, but he doesn't see it that way. He's not impressed with stardom or your title in life. But he did have his card, so he showed up. He showed up a few days later. He goes to the politician's office, and obviously there's a receptionist there, and he goes, "I'm here to see, let's say, Ron." And she goes, "Oh well, Ron is busy. Is he expecting you?" He says, "No." I said, "Okay, what is this about?" Says, "I'm his mechanic." Says, "Okay." So she goes in Ron's office, and she comes back out with him. And the politician, instead of having Ed come into the office, they go in the hallway. And he goes, "What are you doing here? What do you want?" And Ed said, "Well, you told me you owed me one." I said, "Okay, yeah, I think I did say that." "Okay." So it says, "I'm here to collect." Isn't that guy great? So the politician says, "Okay, what can I do for you?" He says, "Well, my mother and my brother are still in Lebanon, and it's getting more and more dangerous there, and I'd like to bring him in. I need your help." So I said, "Wow." So I said, "Did it work?" He said, "Of course it did." Can you believe that? So that's one story he told me, and he told me a few and a lot of personal ones. So I'm not going to go there. But the last one I want to tell you is this rock star. Says, "I don't know, long hair, leather jacket. They all look alike to me. I couldn't care less." And he started at a Troubadour years ago, and then he came back for whatever event or whatever. And he came to me and he goes, "Oh, hi, remember me? I made it." So Ed goes, "No, should I?" He says, "Yeah, I'm whatever his name was." He says, "Okay, and should I know you?" "Everybody in the world knows me. I started here, but now I'm world famous. My name is," again, he repeats the name. Ed doesn't know the name, couldn't care less. And the rock star was offended. "Okay, right, you're right." Turned around and left. And Ed goes, "I don't care what the guy does. It doesn't matter what you do in life. It's not about that." And it's just very philosophical and very, very down to earth. The guy's a multi millionaire. He's 91 years old now, and he sits at the bar every day or almost every day and still observes and makes sure everything is good and honest. I was flabbergasted when he told me he was 91. So the only sad thing, he's very lonely. He lost his wife about 2 years ago. He doesn't have a lot of friends because all his friends have died over the years. So he comes at the bar, and he doesn't even enjoy a drink or the music. He just sits there and observes. But that's his life. So he made good money at the bar. He has invested with a lot of people in Vegas. He owns a lot of property there. Quite the individual, I tell you. So I spent a hell of an evening with the guy. I did go in and out and saw some good music as well. So I recommend the Troubadour, folks, if ever you're in LA or the greater LA region. This is West Hollywood, same difference. You can plan a nice evening. You could go have dinner at the Dantana's. Make a reservation ahead because that place is busy. And if you know when you're going, might as well get your tickets ahead of time at the Troubadour. Doesn't matter much who it is. I'm sure you're gonna have a good time. It's a very, very nice place. It's kind of uh, like those hard rock cafe with all the guitars and whatnot. There's not as much, but there's that. There's some posters, like vintage posters and tickets, and that's nice. Tacky, but nice. And I had a hell of an evening. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Next one will be on November 30th. I'm not going to tell you just yet what it is, but I do have my topic in mind. And hopefully, I'll do that one ahead of time so I don't have to rush at last minute and miss my deadline. So there it is, folks. Did we do? 35 minutes. So that was pretty anyways, shortened. I must have forgotten a lot of things that I wanted to tell you, but you got the essence of it. So Ed Karayan is his name, Karayan. His daughter Christine runs the place now. Very nice man, very nice place. I recommend it. Until I see you again or you see me again, November 38th. As I say always, play safe, take care. See you then. How do I stop this? Here we go.